Let's go to the UK now and catch up with the editor of Spiked Online, our good friend Brendan O'Neill. Good to talk to you again, Brendan. We've discussed before ASTRAZENECA and the massive role it's played in saving the UK, really, from the effects of the pandemic. And you've mentioned that under 40s don't have to get it or are able to get alternatives, but plenty of them have had it, have they?
Yeah, it's not banned for under 40s, but they are offered an alternative. They are offered the Pfizer jab or a different jab if they want it, because there's a ever so slightly higher risk of complications in younger people, we think, than with AstraZeneca. But we're talking about very small risks here. You know, it's extraordinary. The vaccine rollout in the UK is quite staggering. 34 million people have been double vaccinated, so they're fully vaccinated. That's more than half the population. And around 45 million have had at least one jab. So it's going incredibly well. And the side effects and the complications and the tragedies are very, very, very small. And I think that has to be reiterated, especially for a country like Australia, which I know wants to push ahead with its vaccine rollout. It's a good thing to do. It's good to protect yourself against COVID-19. And I think we should celebrate the vaccine. It's been very, very effective.
Yeah, I think absolutely. Australia, of course, has been through nothing like the trauma of the UK, and yet the UK, the reverence, I suppose, the gratitude for AstraZeneca was made very clear at Wimbledon earlier this week, where the people behind the vaccine were introduced to the crowd. Let's have a look.
We would like to thank all those who have contributed so much during this unprecedented period in all our lives. Today, they include leaders who have developed the anti-COVID vaccines,
Yeah, that's the lesson, isn't it, Brendan? People have that gratitude in the UK, and Australians who want to create a bit too much fear here ought to keep that in mind. Just on the pandemic, you've been locked down. There's still frustrations about when you're going to open up properly. Where are you at just at the moment?
Well, we've been promised that our Freedom Day was delayed. It was supposed to be this month, but it's been delayed. It's supposed to be in June, but it's been delayed to later this month in July. I think the government has been overcautious. And just reflecting again on the issue of vaccinations, I think unwittingly, the government is pushing an anti-vaccine line, because what they're essentially saying is that even though we are hugely vaccinated, we're one of the most vaccinated countries on earth, we still can't be too overexcited. We can't really go back to living freely just yet. And I think they're actually doing down the vaccination program, because we were told that once the vulnerable and the elderly had been vaccinated, we could go back to normal, because we would have to learn to live with COVID-19, which every country will have to do. But they're kind of changing their minds on that and saying we've got to delay it further and further. I think we've got to be a bit braver, recognise that the most vulnerable people are now protected, and get back to restoring civil liberty and economic life.
Yes. Now, just segueing to another issue in the UK, the unveiling of the statue, the commemoration of what would have been Princess Diana's 60th birthday. I don't know what sort of an art critic you are, a sculpture critic you are, but what was more believable, the statue or the reconciliation between these two brothers?
I don't think either was particularly believable, to be honest. I think the statue is not the best. I think it's slightly strange. It doesn't really capture Diana very well. You know, where's the famous head tilt? The clothes aren't quite right. So it's a bit strange, the statue, in my personal view. But the brothers coming together, a lot of people were happy to see it, but it's glossing over some deep divisions in the royal family. We know that Prince Harry has essentially been calling the royal family regressive and racist, and saying that it hurt his mental health, and in criticising his father and his brother and lots of other people too. There's a huge rift in the royal family, with the kind of woke royals, Harry and Meghan, declaring war essentially against the traditional royals around the Queen. So there's a lot of tensions there, and that photo opportunity yesterday is not going to gloss over them.
Great to talk to you, Brendan, about the House of Woke there across the Atlantic. Talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Chris.
Brendan O'Neill, you can read his stuff on Spiked Online.